And I still remember back like 8 years ago when, you know, I was already playing Vanguard for a good 2-3 years back then. And then I was using Twitter. I was already using Twitter back then quite actively. And everyone on my timeline was talking about Granblue Fantasy. And I was like, why are all these people that never spoke about Vanguard before suddenly so interested in Vanguard? I was like, what's going on? Why does everyone want to play Granblue? Like, Granblue wasn't even that cool back then. It didn't have Nightrose, it didn't have like all like the cool strides and stuff that came out during the G era. And then I realized it was a brand new mobile game. Happy 8th anniversary Granblue Fantasy. Anyway, with that little tangent out the way, welcome folks. Today we're going to be doing a neck and fight for Nightrose, which is of course the moment in the history of this clan, in the history of Granblue, not fantasy, in the TCG that this deck, this clan, became meta, like top dog, #1 meta for the first time, and it stayed like that for a very long time. And while I had my doubts going into Zero, you know, I wasn't sure if that would really hold up when it came to, you know, the Zero version of Granblue or of Nightrose, because of course, you know, it's going to be a very different feel, right? You know, your deck size, you really struggle not to deck out in some builds in this game, you know, like Celestials. How is Nightrose really going to do that? You need to run Legions. Like, is it really okay? Is the multi-attack going to be as strong? Lo and behold, yes it is. So today we're going to take a look at one of the best decks in the current meta, which is of course Nightrose. Just an amazing deck and very fun to play and very, very reminiscent of the good times back in the G era. Of course, you know, this game doesn't have guarding, so it's not the exact same as before, but it still feels pretty damn good to play. And of course, we did get a free event skin with it too. So let's break down the deck. Of course, you know, I was playing a bunch of different lineups, and this is kind of how the list ended up being after watching the Vanguard Zero Winter Finals. So make sure you check those out if you haven't already, if you want to see a bunch of gameplay of top level Granblue. So let's break it down, I guess, starting with the main grade 3, of course, which is our lovely Nightrose. You know, I still think she's one of the best female units in the history of Vanguard, just absolutely immaculate. So she has a GB2 that says once per turn, during your turn when your rearguard is retired, you can mill 3 cards from the top of your deck, which means put 3 cards from the top of your deck to your drop zone, and then you can revive that card. So basically, if you have like an intercept that dies at the end of your turn, then you can mill 3 to revive it, right? So you still have an intercept during your opponent's turn. And when you stride over her, you can counterblast 1 and call a card from drop, which is very nice. CB1, just a +1 is always good, but of course we do use a lot of CB in this deck, so you gotta think when you use that. Usually on first stride, yes. In later turns, it can kind of die down because you want to prioritize your CB for other things. Our supporting grade 3 that we use here is Nightstorm, and this is the introduction of the Hollow keyword. So Hollow says when this card, you know, when this card is called, this rearguard is called, you may put it into the hollow state, and then at the end of the turn, this rearguard in the hollow state is retired. So by putting in the hollow state, you basically like enable various abilities, but the kind of cost for it all is that you will lose the rearguard at the end of the turn, which is why Nightrose's GB2 will bring it back for you. So he has hollow, and keep in mind in Zero, hollow is GB1. It was not GB1 in the TCG, so it's actually quite unfortunate that it's not, but it's still pretty good. So GB1, his other skill, is when its attack hits a Vanguard, another nerf, if he's in the hollow state, there you go, counterblast 1 and choose a card from your drop zone that is not Nightstorm and call it to an empty rearguard circle. So this is quite good because of course he enables multi-attacks when your opponent's at like 3 or so, or 4 I guess if you smack with him to your Vanguard's face. And then he also says if you ride him, which can happen sometimes, you can counterblast 1 and soulblast 1 to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a card with the hollow ability from among them to your hand. So it can be a copy of himself for a stride fodder, or some of your key grade 2s and grade 1s and stuff like that you want, of course, to play your turn out with. So he's a good backup just because he of course can make multi-attack combos pretty easily, and he's just, you know, he makes a really nice whole like column reset with one of our grade 1s we'll take a look at later. And our last grade 3 is the Gust Dragon. So he also has hollow, and GB1 when he attacks the Vanguard, you can mill the top 2 cards of your deck. For that turn he gets +3k, and then if he's in the hollow state he gets another 5k, so +8, pretty good, 19k attacker. So with a 7k boost, it's going to make some magic numbers. And also in the drop, so you can counterblast 1 and retire one of your grade 2 or higher rearguards to call this card out. So he's not really that good, but we do want to run, like, it might seem crazy, we do run 9 draws in Granblue. I was running crits before, but you do need to see certain pieces as early as possible, and in general it's just like you do need to kind of like eventually field stuff from hand when you don't have the CB to field everything from drop anymore. So for that reason we're running the 9 draw lineup, but you can run like 7 draw 2 crit, or 2 stand, or 1 crit 1 stand, something like that. Like you can explore those lineups as well, but I think 9 draw 4 heal is usually the optimal one. Then we have a bunch of really amazing grade 2s. So the main best one is the Negro Lazy. He says when you call him, of course, he has the hollow ability, and when he's placed on rearguard circle on GB1, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Nightrose, you can Calmas 1, Soul Blast 1, and choose a card from your grade 2 or greater card from your drop zone that is not Negro Lazy and call it. And then for that turn, this unit gets plus 2k in the following ability. At the end of the turn, if it's retired by the hollow ability, countercharge 1, soul charge 1. So the only thing that you get out of putting him into hollow is the refund of his cost, but as a result you lose an intercept. So oftentimes you actually want to call him without activating the hollow, because that way you can keep the intercept for your opponent's turn, and you also, you know, you pay Calmas 1, Soul Blast 1, which is a Glimmer Breath. Like you will get the countercharge back with your starter, which is okay. And speaking of which, our starter Grenache is absolutely amazing. Hollow on GB1, and then when he is retired by Hollow, then if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Nightrose, you can countercharge 2. So the, of course, classic combo that you can still do in 0 is end of turn, this retires itself, you countercharge 2, then you use Nightrose's GB2 to mill 3, and then revive him, and then he goes into Hollow again and kills himself again, and then that way you have 4 open CB. So that is also very, very good, and he can't be retired by opponent's card effects, but you do want your opponent to attack into it, so usually call it to the front row as a result. Then our next grade 2 that I personally, some people run as 0 or 1, I like it at 2. I think this card is amazing, which is Columbard. So not the V series Columbard, that one is also pretty insane, but I think Columbard is really good in 0. GB1, when text of Vanguard while being boosted, counterblast 1 and call a card from your drop zone that is not Columbard. So literally anything. It doesn't have to be hollow, you don't have to hollow him or hollow the call target, nothing, just revive something. So that's very cool. Now you'll notice that we run a bunch of techs, like so many 1-ofs and 2-ofs, and like, why are you not running playsets? Let me explain with our first stride. So our first stride is the Obadiah. So Obadiah says, when placed on Vanguard Circle, you can search your deck for any 3 cards you want and put them into the drop zone. And if you put 2 or more cards with this skill into your drop zone that have the hollow ability, then you can choose a Ghost Thief from your drop zone that is not a trigger and call it to the same column as this unit to the back row rearguard circle. So in this case, it will be the Tommy the Ghosty Brothers, which is the Stride Fodder / Nairo Searcher. So we can run a bunch of 1-ofs because this Stride will set them up into our drop zone for us. And that's why I don't really use any of the milling abilities like this guy, because we set up the drop zone with first stride. Like, we just don't need it. We straight up don't need it. So that's why you see a bunch of 1-ofs. So of course the 2-ofs, for example, we have the Skeleton Cannoneer. This card is insane. GB1 hollow, and then GB1 when called from drop zone, if it's in the hollow state, counterblast 1, draw 1, and then choose an opponent's rearguard and retire it. So this is a bit different from the TCG. This I think it used to be able to draw 1 without the hollow. I think like one of the parts of the skills was tied to hollow, the other one wasn't, but I forget which one is which. But it is still an amazing card. Counterblast 1, draw 1, and pop 1 is really good. This is your way to clear intercept, so we do want to set him into drop zone pretty early. Then we run one of the Jan Mario, who says again hollow, and GB1 when he's called from the drop zone specifically, he has plus 3k in the following 2 abilities. On hit Vanguard, countercharge 1, soul charge 1, and if he's in the hollow state, he gets another plus 3k, so he's 15k on his own. But of course, just calling him as a 12k beater is also fine with that countercharge pressure. So just a one of, like, he's not really that necessary, but sometimes it's nice to have him. But our main best attacker is going to be the Necro Rook. So he says hollow, and GB1 during your turn he gets plus 2k, so 11k attacker, and if he's in the hollow state he gets another 5k, so he's going to be 16k on his own. This is our way to get over defensives. This is our way to beat Asha, which has been very popular in ladder lately, and also to beat Imperial Daughter if we run into it, which we do sometimes. Only 3 because we can search out 2 copies with the Obadiah if we need to, but usually we open one early anyway, and then we just search out the second one. So it's good to have 2 of them in a drop zone to kind of like cycle, just to have like the strong attackers that you can have 2 of them out at once if necessary. And finally, 1 King Serpent. When called from drop zone, countercharge 1, soul charge 1. So the main play is that you use the lazy, use a skill to call out the serpent, and he refunds the cost immediately, and that way you got basically a free intercept out of it that you can then pop with something like the Necro Bone. So he says, GB1, at the end of the battle that he boosted a rearguard that attacked the Vanguard, you can, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Nightrose, you can counterblast 1 and retire the boosted rearguard in order to call a card from your drop zone with the hollow ability. So this will not call your Columbard, this will not call the King Serpent, but it will call something like the Lazy. This will call something like the Rook, and you'll be able to basically chain anything in front of him into a good attacker, or something like a lazy that will call another attacker. So really, really good card. Only 3 because again, we can mill it out and just set it up. So this gives us space to play some other things. Of course, 4 countercharging PGs because CB is of the essence in this deck. And of course, we have 2 of the Swordmaster Mimic. I was exploring a bunch of different grade 1s in this slot, but I think the Mimic is actually the best one. He has Hollow, and GB1 when called from drop zone gain 3k, and if it's in the Hollow state, you can choose one of your other units and give it plus 3k. So this way you have a 10k booster, but also you can give something else at 3k to make 2 21k plus columns, which is very nice. That is actually a very appreciated card, so it's nice to have as a 2 of. I don't really rely on it that much, but it's good. Like if I have it in drop zone and I have another extra revive I can go for, then I do go for it, so it is a pretty good card. So we already talked about the Obadiah as like essentially the, you know, going first, the first stride that we always go into, but this is sadly a very much a 4 of that I recommend. Like you can work with 2, but if you love Nightrose, if you love Granblue, you will have a much better time playing with 4 of the Nightrose stride, at least for now. This may fall off in the future, but the buff they gave to it is actually really nice. So she says GB2, when she attacks the Vanguard, count +2, and G Persona Blast. You can choose 2 cards from your drop zone and call 1 to the front row, 1 to the back row, and then this unit gets a crit. So the crit thing is new. The crit skill is actually new. The rest of it is the same, but this is really nice because of course you can essentially position your field so that you can call like a bone, for example, in front of a rear guard, or like behind a rear guard that doesn't have a booster originally, and call a new front row over a rested front row, and that way you basically have like 3 more attack, because you attack with a new front, you attack with the other one, then bone resets it into a potential lazy. The lazy calls another thing, so you can have even more attacks. So it's really good. You can definitely abuse these combos a lot, but of course they do use up a lot of CB, so you have to really manage your Grenache well, overcall it when necessary, and stuff like that. So you can run with 2, but this is kind of like, the reason why I say you can run with 2 is because you can just over rely on the bone. The bone will literally allow you, because this also gives you multi-attack, right? Because the strong thing about Nightrose is the multi-attack. The crit is nice too, but the multi-attack is the best part. And so if you only have 2 Nightroses, then you just max out on bone and rely on it, because 2 CB on Rose gives you a front and a back, whereas 2 CB on the bone, or like bone into lazy, is 2 CB, right? So that, but that still will give you 2 attacks. So it's kind of the same, so you don't necessarily like have to go crazy for, like, you know, getting your 4th one, and like, you know, if you only have 2, going crazy to get the last 2. You can run with 2 and definitely play this deck very competitively, but it is recommended to have 4 if you can. And then the last one is the Bandit Rum, also GR. He's not that good. He will fall off in the future, I think. He just says when attack hits a Vanguard, you can choose a card from your drop zone, call it, and give it plus 2k. So this is just good for those turns where you're completely counterblast starved and you don't have, like, you're playing against Vanquisher and they like bound your Grenache early and you don't have any resources. Like, that's what this card is good for. You can play a second one instead of like the Harmonix Messiah, or play like the Blue Blood, the counterblast 1 overcall 2 from drop stride. So those are also choices. I play Harmonix, like honestly never really go into it because you just hollow your front row, but in case you accidentally kept the Columbard or something up in front, then this will help you kind of salvage that out. But I honestly almost never go into the Harmonix, but we don't really have anything better to play for now, so Blitz isn't really necessary in this deck because the GB2 isn't something you like go crazy about. The nice thing about the Nightrose GB2 is that it does enable you to also do combos mid-battle, because if you don't stride and you like overcall a rear guard, you can actually mill 3 to revive it. So that's pretty cool. That's actually very nice. So enough explaining. I think I've spent a really long time explaining this deck today, but let's just get into some games and see the deck in action. All right, let's see who we play against. Ooh, Link Joker. Well, we're gonna have to be abusing our hollows pretty hard this time around. Going first as well, of course. Most combo decks love going second because our combos are locked to, you guessed it, Generation Break. This opening hand is pretty good. We will ride the bone, ride the lazy, and then just stride once we get to it eventually. Open another bone so we don't have to mill it. Having it in hand is also a great start. So far so good. Ooh, deleters actually. That's pretty interesting. Gonna have to be a bit careful with the Nightroses then, because of course we don't want to overdo it and lose them in the process. Let me say hello to our opponent, since he said hello. So yeah, we always want to call the Grenache to the front, just because it gives them a target to, you know, attack into, and we always want it in the drop zone as well. Also, I was climbing recently, so let me turn on the animations again. So with this deck again, if you're struggling to do things in time, you can turn off the animations. That's definitely a tip that still stands. Also, this matchup might be a little bit rough because our Grenache might get, you know, vanish deleted, so we got to be a little bit careful about that. We're gonna ride the lazy. We can actually call him down too here if we want to, just to kind of overcall this already, but I kind of want to be a bit careful with the Vanish deletes, because they are going to be pretty scary. We could theoretically also just push, because I think this deck also just excels at aggro. Like, it's honestly one of the best decks for just pure aggro plays, because everything you play down is going to come back later on from the drop zone. So you want to just kind of push, use the fact that we have, like, you know, annoy your opponent with the Grenache. Make them want to take it out, even if it's with a grade 1 rear, because that's a resource that I will always have, and I will always be able to swing with it that my opponent will not. So you can see here, they got... See what happens? They get annoyed. They get annoyed, they take it out. That's how the cookie crumbles. So I'm personally pretty happy about that. Pretty good. But of course it also goes to the drop, which means Vanish Delete could happen. Ah, there it is, there it is, there it is. And goodbye, Grenache. It was nice knowing you. You were a real one. You were a real one. I'm gonna be real with you, I'm not the biggest fan of that animation. I think there were better Nightrose animations in the past. I'm thinking of keeping this lazy in hand, because next turn we can revive and then use lazy. We don't have, thing is we don't have the Grenache anymore, because that would have been my main revive target otherwise, but I guess it doesn't really matter anymore. So we just push our point into 4, and then first try we can just use Bone to kind of like make aggro combo plays. So we can revive the Cannoneer here next turn, and then already start kind of bashing our opponent's face with the CB that we have. Chances are we'll have 3 CB this turn. I'm also expecting to get deleted, but luckily we don't really mind. You know, it's not a Mega Colony. Deleting is... We lose a Stride skill, which is kind of the saddest part of it, but otherwise it's kind of okay. Alright, well, let's see. Will this be a Fetus Deletus? Hold up, this says... Put a Grayon from Soul into drop, and then retire one of your deleted rears, delete one's Vanguard, randomly banish delete, whoops, misclick, attack its Vanguard, combos 1, look at top 10 of your deck, put a Grayon into Soul, and then choose one of your opponent's rears and retire it, and then randomly vanish delete 1 card from your opponent's drop zone. Interesting. Huh. Interesting board, actually. He's not actually going for the... He didn't Stride, which is peculiar. So, he's gonna set up... This has to hit Vanguard, no? Yeah, it does. What is he doing here? Interesting. Well, I guess let's see. I wasn't deleted, so I guess that's fine. But definitely not the way I expected this turn to go. Does he just not have a Stride fodder or something? Okay, soul charging, counter charging. Well, of course, there's nothing to counter charge, but you know what I mean. Alright, let's go into King Obadiah. I also recommend thinking about what you want to mill with King Obadiah early. So you see I have a lazy and a skeleton kind of near in here, and I have a bone on field. So for me it's going to be like rook focus. I'm going to probably dunk 2 rooks in here. So we always resolve this first. So let's dunk, I think 2 rooks. We have a lazy in here. Lazy could fetch out the Cannoneer. We have 3 CB, right? So that's exactly... no, it's not enough. It's not exactly enough. Let me think about it. I'm thinking... How many intercepts he has? 1. I'm thinking King Serpent might be the play here. Just to prepare that. Yeah, let's do this. So we got 2 hollows, and then of course Tommy will revive itself. There we go, the Nightrose effect. We will just take the Skeleton Cannoneer and call it to the bone column, like this. And then this way we can use the bone to essentially make rook stuff happen. So we're gonna GB, you know, enable hollow there, then count +1, draw 1, pop my opponent's intercept, and then with that I think we're mostly good to go. It's on attack he gets the mill power. It makes 21, which is kind of nice, so I can get over defensive if necessary, but optimally I'd like to not. See, this is what I want to do here. I want to swing unboosted so that we can just overcall with rooks and stuff, or like lazy. I guess we're just gonna call into rook, huh? So I guess it's fine. Here's what we do. We can swing. I didn't hollow this, so actually no. Let's go with this. Sorry, I'm probably. Oh no, it doesn't need to be hollowed. Okay, well it's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, checks a heal. Ooh, that's nasty. That's a big schnasty. All right, let's swing here first. That does change a lot. We can save CB like this though, so that's pretty important. Alright, we already hollowed the Cannoneer, so we do have to make use of it already. So, let's see. he hits a defensive on the first one. Does he hit defensive here too? He does. That's nasty. So this doesn't hit anymore, and that's gonna die as well. But I guess that's fine. We open up our front row, so it's not super bad. So we don't get to use any bone shenanigans. Like, what I wanted to do there is basically like go swing with this and then push him to 5. Well, I mean, I guess that also works, huh? What? Did he just not draw anything? I guess. So what I was trying to say there was, I was trying to swing with a grade 3, push him to 5, and then use the bone to get rid of the cannoneer, like attack into a heal guard, use bone, pop the cannoneer into a rook that then swings for 16 again, and then swing with Vanguard once again. So that would have been the play, would have gotten us 4 attacks in a turn, basically. So, you know, every CB equals 1 attack. That's basically how it goes, but we're going to be like playing as Gear Chronicle here. I think we're going to play quite a few games today just because I want to actually show off what the deck does. Here we're going to keep 2 of the Tommies in case we didn't draw the Nightrose, but lo and behold we did. So that's good, we don't need to search it anymore. So now we're going second this time around, which is good. First strike is always very appreciated. We're playing as Time Leap. So of course, for those of you watching in the set 5 meta, this is a deck that comes out in set 6. So of course it's not very representative of the set 6, set 5 meta, I guess, but is still pretty fine. So there we go. There we go. Ooh, lately there's been so I got this basically like what is it? Message just now from like a fake DHL number, and they say like your package is stopped in one of our stations. Complete the shipping fees to get it at the end of the week. And basically on the news the other day they said like there's a recent phishing message being sent out by DHL, and you can just look at the phone number because like I actually order with DHL pretty often, and I, you know, obviously I know what their number looks like. I know what when they call me to like actually like fill out the customs fees and whatnot. But nice try, I respect it, but alas, you can't fool me like that. Alright, let's just go for aggro again. No reason not to at this point. Our opponent is gonna probably bot deck our freaking Grenache, so I'm just accepting fate at this point. Of course we can, I'm probably gonna just overcall it before, you know, my opponent has a back row ability. A back row ability. Ooh, 2 PGs in damage, that's pretty good. Of course, he might be running the Relic, was it Rune Master? I think it's Rune Master, Relic Master, can't remember. But anyway, if he runs that, then you can bot deck my Grenache. It's going to be a little bit annoying, but unlike Link Joker, this or Narukami, if they bot deck my Grenache, I can get it out with the Ghosty, with the Obadiah. So it's pretty chill. It's not a big deal. Okay, I don't know what my opponent's doing. Is this a new form of VP farming? Like, what's going on? I've literally never seen someone act like this. This must be some new form of VP farm because, like, I am flabbergasted. I don't know what to say anymore. He's just not calling down anything. He takes up as much of the timer as possible. Like, I don't, you know, surely this can't all be accidental, right? Like, what's going on here, man? What's going on? Alright, let's cycle into a grade 2, I guess. I'm still always, you know, playing as I should. Not gonna start throwing or BMing all of a sudden here. I know some people get particularly... Oh yeah, right, this is a free cost, huh? So we can technically get the Tommy back. I mean, I guess let's set up a drop zone of stuff. We don't have a lazy in there yet, so I guess we can put the lazy in. Let's just mill those. Get the Tommy back. There we go. Can't wait to do it all over again. Alright. Smack. Show me the heal. There we go. And then once again, smack. Show me the PG if you have one. King Serpent. Draw a trigger. Very nice. Into a PG. That's good. And then a draw into a heal. Alright. Surely that's it? Yep. Alright. I don't know what this game was. Let's try to play an actual proper game now. Please. Alright. Our next opponent is going to be Narukami, okay? So that's gonna be a bit of a rough matchup if it is Vanquisher. If it's Brawlers, which it might be, it's actually not as bad. Opening hand, I'll keep 1 PG, I don't think we need both, because I do need to draw into another grade 1 / Stride Fighter / Nightrose. So that's good, we did do that. Alright, we're going second, and this could still be Vanquisher, because it could be both, honestly. Like, the Brawler sleeves are indicating something, but I'm not necessarily, you know, banking on it. Ooh, the Desert Gunners. You don't see those too often in, like, any build, so kind of still a bit hard to generalize, let's say. Alright, well, we start off with the usual. For now, I think I'll still put this here. Hopefully you don't randomly bind it. If we check a trigger, that'd be sad, but we didn't. That's good. Next turn, we'll put down the Tommy and see what we do. Because I think for now we can just kind of like... I don't want to like call down the Tommy yet because of course I might draw into Nightrose next turn. So I don't want to like top deck it into sadness. Okay, that's the Great Researcher. Okay, there's the filter card. Countercharging PG. I still don't know what deck he's playing. This could still be virtually anything. Nightrose and damage into a heal guard. That's pretty good. Okay, so gonna probably search first, I'm assuming. So you can filter it out and set up for... Oh, okay, it's Brawlers, alright. So you're literally just setting up for Legion here. Not choosing to search, okay, saving the CB. We got a Cannoneer, which is actually quite nice. In that case... If it's Brawlers, I'm not that afraid, I guess. Let's try the Cannoneer for now. I think that's fine. And then call down the Tommy. Discard the King Serpent. And then search out the Nightrose. Very good. I'm thinking if I already want to overcall the Grenache. I feel like I might. Just to get this in the drop zone for next turn as well. So I think we want to just do that before we get into trouble. So this should be good. We check a draw. So we have confirmed on hits. Okay, we got the one of Mr. Zombie Man. Okay, that's a nothing. And we just push another damage here. So I think for Granblue, honestly, Brawlers are a pretty chill matchup because we can just like hollow majority of our field and we're not as afraid of things kind of like disappearing. So that's actually quite fine. Let's see. Alright, goes into the Brawler Legion. Man, remember when they would give other characters like lines for the grade 3s even if that character never used that grade 3? I remember. Those were the good days. It really does feel like different. Like when G started, it just new developers took over. They used to put in so much little fan service and so much little love for the game, but it feels like it has kind of reduced over time, unfortunately. Very, very, very unfortunately. Alright, let's see if he's gonna filter. He only has one card in drop, so probably wants to for Legion and whatnot. Of course, the G zone here is still very much like anti-Granblue and has binding that might get us in trouble, but let's still play it out and see what happens. Right, Nightrose. We're gonna go into Obadiah here. I do need to check my drop zone to see what we want to mill. We have a Lazy in hand, which is good. Lazy in hand is definitely good. Let's discard you. We don't have a Tommy in drop, but I don't want to mill the Tommy. It's not that big of a deal. So we have a Serpent. We have a Lazy. We could use a Skeleton. We could use a Skeleton to use a Bone. So Bone, Skeleton, and I guess another Rook wouldn't hurt. We have one in Soul that we can access, so maybe it's not worth it. I'm gonna still go for another Rook. I think it's fine to get them out. So, Nightrose effects. Let's see. How hard do we want to go here? Theoretically speaking, I think we just want to... Thinking. I kind of want to just use Lazy at this point. So what we can do is get the Serpent out here. So this will refund the cost immediately, and then we just use a Lazy to call out a, whatchamacallit. I'm going to use a Lazy, not hollowing it. Soul Blasting Tommy isn't really necessary. We just want to get the Grenache out here, but we could also get the Bone out, and then that will chain to the Grenache off of the King Serpent. So that's also not bad. So I guess we can do that. It's not really the best use of CB, I guess. Doesn't really equal into a multi-attack. So let's just call this out, I guess. Let's just call this out. Alright. So we make some attacks. We're going to hollow this. We're not hollowing the Lazy. It's not really worth it. Alright. With that, I think we're good to go. We could have committed more, I guess, that turn, but I think it's okay to take it a bit more minimal. We're already at lower damage, so we're going to whiff heals no matter what. Speaking of whiffing heals, he's not going to be whiffing one. Gets one right off the top like that. Very good. We whiff one. Shouldn't have said speaking of. Should not have said speaking of. Yeah, theoretically what I could have done is overcall the Serpent with a... freaking... with you, mister. Because that could have called over the Lazy, and that would have gotten us another attack, I guess. But we didn't really hit any triggers, so of course I wouldn't have really, like... Or we did hit a trigger, but I would have wanted to hit one earlier than that. And the way the defensives panned out, we wouldn't have hit in the end. So I guess it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Next turn, we don't have a good strike fodder, but like hard... Like, you know, we can struggle strike with these two, and it's fine. into a Nightrose. He's on 4. If he pushes me to 4 here by taking out my whole board, I'm not really against that. I'm actually quite cool with it, simply because it means that I can just, you know, I have a bunch of CB to work with because he's probably going to call down a bunch of scalars here. So he's going to push me to like 4 or 5, and then I have like CB for Nightrose, CB for Bone, CB for Columbard, CB for Lazy. Like, we can just go ham on combos. So I think it's pretty good regardless of how it goes. So let's just see it. Let's see how it runs. All right. There's a scalar. There's a Chatura. That's a little bit annoying. You select what to bind, don't you? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do select what to bind. All right, well, if he... the thing is, the scalar is behind him, so he's gonna be able to hit anyway. Okay, we don't hit a defensive. 20, and of course the big old 27 on the side there. So even if I hit defensive off of this one, we will still be in a bit of a danger. So that's interesting. All right. Will you... Okay, he's gonna really cycle through everything. Even got the SP. Pretty clean. Pretty clean. Alright, discarding. Pretty big drop zone now. Trying to search those PGs out, which is very understandable. We go to 4. Another PG checked. Bit concerning, but it's not the end of the world. And we go to 5, which is good for me because that gives me all the CB I want in the world. So here, Grenache is probably going to be a bye-bye. Here we go, Kalmas 1. And guess what? It's going to be... No Yumiya Ash. There we go. There's literally no better target if you're playing Narukami. That's literally your strongest point as a clan, is that you can do that. So, we drop y'all, I'm pretty sure. We drop you two. We don't have Grenache anymore to work with, so we just need a bone setup, and we're good to go. So at this point, I think I want to revive... I think with Nightrose, we revive the bone to the side here. Like this. And then we're gonna use the lazy... actually, wait. Because I kind of want to take out a skeleton cannoneer, but then the bone kind of gets... Because we use 2 CB to bring out the skeleton cannoneer. But I guess it's the same amount of attacks, it's just I didn't really need to put the bone out then. Could have called something better like a King Serpent. So that's a bit of a misplay. Bit of a misplay, but we'll take it. It's fine. We're gonna use this part of the skill, put you to drop. And then, of course, gonna take out the Cannoneer here, just like that. Alright, and then we still have 12 cards in the deck, so it's not too bad. We're gonna hollow you, as you are gonna get overcalled anyway. We're gonna get rid of the Intercept there. Bada bing, bada boom. Very nice. Then we're not gonna hollow you. And then now, we can go into battle phase. So, we're gonna swing here, and then we're gonna basically attack with a... Oh, wait, we can do combos. Hold up. I realize what we can do. We can do this, which is nice. So we're gonna overcall you, and call you here. King Serpent will soul charge and counter charge, so we have a CB for bone, which is pretty good, because this way we can push a lot of attacks here. We will hollow you for the power, in case we need it. And then soul charge, counter charge, very nice. 10 cards left in deck, still pretty comfortable, honestly. I think we're actually okay. We get a heal, which is huge here. Humongous, Among Us. Power can go to this column. I think this is the better one. Oh, we hit! Damn, okay. I was thinking of all these other combos, but we actually hit. No PGs in hand. I guess that's why he was filtering so hard with the Helena there. He had all his PGs at the bottom. So, pretty good. I mean, again, my opponents keep dying before I get to show off the combos. Like, there, what we could have done is swung with the Rook column, kill the Rook to recall a Rook to swing for 16 again, and then had the lazy column on top of that. So many plays you can do, but my opponents keep dying before I can do them. God damn it. Alright, I'm feeling nice, so I'll give you another game, because that first game feels like it ended very prematurely. The second game was a non-game. The third game was, I guess, pretty alright. My opponent didn't really do much. And now we're playing as Overlords, so that's going to be pretty interesting. We put the heal back, we will keep the rest of this hand. We obviously don't have a PG or anything, but I think... not having Nightrose here, we can at least search it with a Tommy. And also Tommy's really nice in this deck, of course, because unlike other decks where you have to discard something as a cost, here it's still a cost, but it's a cost that benefits you, right? You set up your drop zone for stuff you want to call back. And we're playing as Overlord, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see where that goes. Whether he's playing the Legend. I know a lot of people are excited for that. I've been playing with the deck too. I was trying out a Break Ride build first, but then I kind of realized that I think still running with the... Still running with the good old, you know, Legion with the Great is probably better. You also play with Blade Master, play with the Cross. I've seen it be played with like virtually everything, so it's pretty versatile, so we can't really predict what my opponent's going to be playing just yet either. So we're going to deal the first damage, give him the Conro. When I'm playing Chaos, I kind of damage deny. It's pretty fun. Just never let them use the Conro until I stride and then I lock it forever. But of course, it's not that kind of matchup. I'll give him the Conro, it's fine. You can search your PG, it's okay. Oh, choosing not to though, that's a little... I mean, like in this matchup, it's fine to do, to be honest. I say it's brave, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, we get the draw into a Nightrose? No, no Nightrose, okay. That's fine, that's fine. Alright, still no Nightrose, so we're gonna ride into you, I think. Gonna ride into the John Mario. Then we're gonna call down the Tommy, discarding you, because you only function when called from the drop anyway. Search out the Nightrose, and then we're going to overcall you, and we're going to just basically push. Take out the intercept and push. We have so many great 2s, and we have first stride as well, so honestly it's fine. And we just need lazy in hand for calling stuff out of drop, so we're fine. Him giving me CB early is also kind of nice because that means I can actually do more on my first stride turn, so it's pretty good. And we're going to push to 3, so that's also very nice. We can use our first stride turn pretty aggressively. There is a little legend, and it has a crit on it. I am scared. Slightly worried. Slight worry in shoes. Okay, riding the brake ride. Okay, this is the fun build. The brake ride build, honestly, is very fun. It's very fun. Sorry, I'm adjusting my lights. That's why the brightness looks all kind of all out of the place for a little bit. But I like the brake ride build. It's very funny. It needs a lot of setup because you need to brake ride and then like spend a turn striding. Ooh, what is this? What is this? Ride, swing, pass? That's interesting. What should I do here? I think I can just go for a bone, but... I'm very surprised. I need to see my drop. I need to see what's in my drop right now. Let's see, we have a Cannoneer, we don't need that. We have a Grenache, which is probably the most important thing we have. So we need rooks. I think we also need a bone, maybe? Yeah, we need a bone, a rook. We have a Cannoneer. We don't have a lazy, but we don't really need a lazy in here yet. We need another hollow unit because I think I don't have a Tommy actually, so it doesn't matter. Then I'll put Columbar down. Yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. In this case, I'm just thinking. I kind of want to just make bone and push. Is that wise, though? Is that wise? We have some good numbers. I think I'm gonna go for it. I think I will go for it. We're gonna just push. See what happens with the bone. So we're gonna kill off the grade 1. I guess we can hollow it. It doesn't do anything. It literally needs to be called from drop to do anything. So we're gonna call this out. Let's see. Oh no, the crit. You know what? That's kind of fine. That's kind of fine. I think I put a rook in the drop zone, right? Yes, I did. Thank God. So that means I can hollow this here. So this will actually hit for the right numbers. So we can still push with the 23. That's very nice. So we hit with the 23. We also get rid of our own front row. And if he's, you know, like the great needs to attack a rear, right? So we just don't give him targets. Oh, this deck is so fun. There's so many little things like this that you can do. We just... Like now it's like, okay, go for it. Like just go for it. It's fine. Like I could have obviously played safer there and called out like a, you know, the safer play would have been to call out a Grenache and start countercharging, but screw it, dude. Just, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Oh, he's gonna try it. Okay. He's not gonna go for it. He's not gonna go for the craziness of break riding there. Alright, Mustafa probably killing my Grenache, I'm assuming. That's fine. That's a-okay. Alright, so I'm thinking, we can just, if he pushes me to 5, we can just go into 9. Oh, what is this? What is this? Do I have Serpent and drop? I don't. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, shucks. We don't have Serpent and drop. I think we just go for another Obadiah. Just keep milling. Let's just go for another Obadiah, dude. Like, we can do Obadiah and call a Serpent to then lazy something out. I don't even know. Hold up. Let's just do this for now. Let's just set up drop zone. It's fine. Because we're not hitting, right? So we can't use Bandit Run for now. I started, some of y'all will be proud of me. I started reading One Piece. I was like, I don't want to watch it. It's too long, but I'll read it. So I started reading it, and it's pretty cool so far. So I'm gonna get all these references you guys make now. I'm gonna be a real gamer. Capital G, gaming. Okay, you know what? We could just make a bunch of attacks and just use this. I guess that's probably the safest play. Theoretically, it could have also just, you know, King Serpent and then lazied this out. Yeah, actually, it would have been the better play. But it's fine. I want to hollow them to not give him targets, though. I'm gonna hollow them just to not give him targets. Literally, your deck does less when I don't have a front row, so I'm not giving you a front row. Oh, that's fun. Alright, let's swing. 33. We've set up a nice drop zone now as well. Nice little draw into PG, that's also good. We have Stride Fodder for next turn, heal whiff, but that's okay, bro. It's okay, bro. And we have a 26 that needs another PG, so... This is just a fun little, like, counterplay game. Oh my god. We're hitting here too? Dude, I'm just winning through aggro. I'm not even winning through, like, skillful play. I'm not winning through combos. I'm just taking every single dub through just being aggressive. And that's Nightrose. This is, I've literally played 4 games trying to show off crazy combos, and all I could do is talk about them at the end of the game, but because my opponents would die before I could do them, or I just get a 5-win streak by just trying to record some games. So yeah, I think after an hour of recording games and, you know, this very mixed bag of results, that's Nightrose. So ladies and gentlemen, and everyone, as you can see, this is Nightrose, right? It's an aggressive deck, it's very consistent, you can search out your pieces, you can take your time with it, you can do crazy combos, you can play one-ofs, you can search them out, you can tutor everything, you have crazy combo strides, you have so much, like, deck thinning, and decking out is usually not an issue, right? And if it is, well, you just gotta kill faster, right? Just win faster, forehead. But the deck is really fun. I do recommend it. When set 5 comes out of global, you guys should go crazy with this. If you played Nightrose back in the GR, or if you play Nightrose right now in V or Premium, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. It feels so good to pilot. So if you guys have some fun, if you want to see more gameplay of this, then just check out the Zero Championship Winter VOD that we did with Kai. It's up on my YouTube channel, and you can see some more gameplay as well from the other Nightrose users, or some other decklist variants from the top 16 that I also covered in a separate video, so you can check that out. This deck is very customizable. You can play so many different lineups, so many different grade 2s, even grade 1s. You can get even more techie with it. Grade 3s too, you can play legions, you can play stands, like there's so many different things you can do. So just explore different ideas. This deck is only going to get better with time. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please do give it a like, and if you want to support my channel in other ways, please do subscribe as well. Much appreciated. Check out my socials in the description. We got Twitter, we got a Twitch where I stream very regularly, and also we got a community Discord that you can also join in as well. But otherwise, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.